In this video, we're going to take a look at inserting page breaks into a Word 2019 document. I have our Alice in Wonderland document here. I am on the first page of the actual story. It's actually the second page of the document because this has a title page at the top. So here's our first page, and it just goes down to the bottom. When it hits the bottom margin, it moves on to the next page. And occasionally you want to push something down so it starts on a brand new page. So let's assume that I want first paragraph and second paragraph to be on the current page, but then I want to push this down to begin on the next page. So there's two choices here. You can put the cursor at the beginning of this paragraph, or you can put it at the end of this paragraph. This is not the way to do it, although there's not that big of a difference. If I go here, and what we're going to be looking at is on the Layout tab, and we've got options for breaks here, and I want a page break. So I'm going to insert a page break right there, which means push everything down from that point, which was before the paragraph mark, push everything down to a new page. So we get a bunch of blank space here at the bottom of this page, and the text that was to the right of the cursor gets pushed down, and there was a paragraph mark to the right of the cursor. So I end up with a little bit of extra blank space at the top of the next page, which is probably not what you wanted. So I can easily fix that by selecting it and hitting the delete key, and now it looks the way that I wanted it to look. However, let's undo a couple of things here. Now we're back to our original document. If I had put the cursor at the beginning of the paragraph that I wanted to push down, and now I go to my Layout tab and go to Breaks and put a page break in, now it is at the beginning of the page. There is not an extra paragraph mark here, although there is an extra paragraph mark here. The page break was inserted after the paragraph mark, after this paragraph mark right here. And so here's my page break, and there is the extra paragraph mark. But that got inserted on the page above, so I don't have to go in and do any editing after the fact. Let's go back to our Home tab here. And on the Home tab, this is where we have the Showhide button. And this is something that I think you want to normally keep turned on while you're editing a Word document. I'm going to turn it off for a second here. And it gets rid of all of my hidden characters. Well, my hidden characters are things like paragraph marks, that little backwards P symbol that's at the end of every paragraph, spaces, and tabs. And spaces are normally represented by a little raised dot. The paragraph mark is a backwards P, and the tab, which I don't happen to have in this document, is a horizontal arrow. But it also shows things like page breaks. I'm going to turn this back on again. And the page break is some hidden text. And basically you can treat that as a single character. And if you want to make a change, if you want to get rid of the paragraph, or if you want to get rid of the page break, all you have to do is select it, hit the delete key on the keyboard, which I'm going to do right now, and it's gone. But if you didn't have Show Hide turned on, you wouldn't have been able to see that. And the advantage of having the Show Hide button turned on most of the time when you're working in Word is it shows you those hidden marks, and if you see those hidden marks, then you understand why your document looks the way that it does. Okay, we're going to look at another way to insert a page break. This is the way that I normally do it. I don't bother going up to the Layout tab and going to Breaks and choosing page break. Instead, there's a real easy to remember keyboard shortcut. So go to the place where you want the page break inserted and hold the Control key down and press Enter, and that inserts a page break for you, and there's my page break right there. And I think that's a fairly easy keyboard shortcut to remember, and so it'll save you the time of going up to the ribbon. If you insert page breaks like that, sometimes you end up with a lot of white space in here, and right now I've got absolutely none of my document visible on the screen. All I've got is white space. What you may want to do is you may want to hide all that white space. So if you're in print layout view, which I assume you'll probably be in most of the time, if you position the cursor between the pages here, a little tooltip will come up telling you to double click to hide white space. And if you double click, which I'm doing right now, it will hide all of the white space. So it lets you see more of your document on the screen if you do that. So you notice every place where there's a page break, I've got 1 inch top margin, 1 inch bottom margin, and they are pretty much gone and replaced with just this horizontal dotted line. So that's an option you may want to take advantage of. If you want to bring the stuff back, just go back here and double click again, and now all of your white space returns. There's another option that you can try, and this one is pretty useful as well. Let's let you see the most text of all. If you go down here and click on your web layout button, it will show you everything without any white space in between, without any page breaks in between, that is, and it will go from margin to margin. So it will let you see, this is probably the maximum you can see on a screen of this size, without zooming out further. And this isn't related to page breaks, but it's kind of a useful tip. If you do web layout, one advantage of web layout, besides the one that I just showed you right here, is if you are working in a split screen view like this, and you've got a Word document over here on the right side, you've got some other stuff over here on the left, then you can see all of your document without having to do any horizontal scrolling. If I were in print layout view here, and you can disregard this over here. If I were in print layout view, now I've got to scroll horizontally to see everything that I want to see. But if I am in web layout view, now there's no horizontal scroll bar down here. When it gets to the end, it just wraps around to the next line. And so if you want to do side-by-side stuff, which is one of the handiest features of Windows 10, I think, then it makes it a whole lot easier if you've got a Word document on one half of the screens, because all you have to do now is vertical scrolling. You don't have to do any horizontal scrolling at all.